welcome to Death Rambles. This is my space to ramble about death, funnily enough, and feel free to join me. So grab a drink. I have a hot chocolate this time because I didn't want caffeine, and get comfy and let's begin. Today we're talking about mostly the human bone trade, specifically from an oddities viewpoint, because that's where I mostly see it, and I'm a weirdo who collects things, so I see it frequently and I want to talk about it because it's something I care a lot about as someone who has worked with human remains for 3 years, and I just needed to get it off my chest, really. So I've seen it on Instagram for years. It will be kind of aesthetic posts and they'll always have a human bone in it, and they're kind of too highly accurate and like very detailed, so much so that it probably is not gonna be a fake. Skulls are cool. I love skulls. I wouldn't have done my degree if I did not like bones. Don't get me wrong. Skulls have been used for ages as a symbol of memento mori, remember you will die. It's a cheery topic. I'm filming this on a Wednesday morning and it is raining outside, so pathetic fallacy at its finest. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Skulls have been used as a symbol of morbid themes, obviously, but for hundreds of years. Because, you know, when the thing decomposes, you're going to be left with the bones, and that's what we're going to see. So obviously it's the perfect symbol for the representation of death, and it makes sense that alternative spaces have then used those symbols to associate with as almost a pushback against the more modernized fear of death which has come in. I want to do something on the history of funerals, by the way. It is very interesting. From this, it's only natural that people would find specimens cool. Like, I literally have bones here. But when it comes to human remains, there is a lot of ethical issues. So a lot of the bones that are being sold today by oddity shops are usually ex-medical specimens. So these have been bones that have been used for teaching reasons in medical schools. Because back in the day, we didn't have the technology we do now, and we couldn't make fairly accurate, highly detailed casts of bones, because they all still were a bit bad. They weren't great. Like, I've had resin casts in my classes that you can't pick a certain feature out because of how weird the texture is. But that was then, when people had to learn from life. I mean, we still do. You can donate your body to science and be a cadaver for teaching. Obviously, when we were like, we don't really need everyone to have their own individual skeleton to learn from now. We can get plastic ones. What do we do? So there was a time where a lot of medical skeletons then got donated to kind of archaeology, anthropology departments in universities. Say your granddad, who then died, and you went up in his attic and you're like, there's a medical skeleton in this box, what do we do? It's going to make sense that a lot of people are just going to be like, I'll try and sell it. The issue with then obviously people buying up remains is that a lot of these skeletons are from poor people most of the time, and they are from countries like India and China. There was an article, I'll link it in the description, but it's on the Museum of British Colonialism. So this woman spoke about how when she was at university, she found out that a lot of her skeletons that she was studying from were from India. So in British colonial India at the time, they would send skeletons over to be used in the UK as studying materials, and I have a feeling a lot of the people who were said skeletons didn't consent to that before death. This is the main thing. Consent is the main thing with this, because you see people talk all the time about how they want to like donate their skull to a theatre after they die, or like, oh, I just want to give like my partner a rib or whatever. And I think we should be allowed to do that. Obviously, there's laws that can make it a little bit more difficult to do what we want with our own bodies after death. Like that, I believe is perfectly fine. Like, if I said, oh, I want to donate this phalange to my boyfriend, let me donate a phalange. They're weird anyway. Like, you can have it after I die. A lot of the time, these bones are undocumented, so when you find them, you have no idea who they were, where they're from, etc. And this is the main thing, because I've seen oddities collectors and sellers saying that they won't sell the remains of people who are documented, which I think is way worse. If you're like, oh yeah, they're undocumented, so, you know, I'm going to sell them on my shop and make a profit, whereas the ones that are documented are not. When there is plenty of like information and science and people, forensic anthropologists, who will be able to help roughly identify who the bones were to repatriate them to their country of origin, so then they can be returned to their country after death. And that can be possible, that can be done. So I don't know why they're being treated like oddities. I get everyday people aren't necessarily gonna be aware of this kind of thing. They just might think, oh, skull, kind of cool, put it on my shelf, you know? And it's a bit of a tricky one, but there are people who are trying to stop it, and there is a task force with an email address you can email. They're wonderful people, I've spoken to them before, and I am mates with one of them on LinkedIn, not to brag. And I will leave all their information below. I will put their name on screen as well, because I cannot probably remember right now. But they're excellent people, and they track and make sure that they're aware of all the places that human remains are being sold, because they want to eventually try and stop it. I feel like this is a little overview. We'll see how it goes in the edit of the human bone trade, and why it's a bit dodgy that that's my leg. A bit dodgy that they're being sold when a lot of the time it's undocumented people and we don't know where they're from, if they even consented to it, which they probably didn't from 100 years ago or more. And it's a bit sad. If I wanted to give bones of my body to someone, it'd be people I love, not to be sold by a guy on the internet. You know, it's a bit... Also, there's a man selling a human leather wallet, and I just want to put that out there because it's absolutely disgusting and weird. And he's trying to claim it's more ethical than human leather, than animal leather, which is a whole nother thing, but it's absolutely mental. So yeah, I wouldn't really trust people who sell human remains, to be honest, if they're selling human leather. Anyway, on that cheery note, I want to say thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my little ramble. Yeah, I will hopefully have more, because I have just finished uni and I have a lot of spare time, so fingers crossed I can actually think of things. I've got to keep my brain alive, so thank you, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.